Number one, I want to talk about horsepower. 700 horsepower. So I get asked a lot about, well, why isn't it 704? All right, that's a question I get a lot, right? And here's the answer to that.
All right, guys, before we get into today's crazy, awesome Raptor R content, we got to thank today's sponsor of the video, Carly. That's right. This right here is the key to success for knowing all the goods about your vehicle that you maybe want to buy or that you want to own. It's really cool. It's a Bluetooth app. You plug into your OBD2 and you find out all kind of good stuff. We're in my personal Raptor now. We'll plug it in. What's good for the Carly, and link in description and use my code if you want to use it and get it, is because instead of finding out and waiting to get a tech to find out what's going on with your car, check engine light or any service light, this will tell you what it is, and it'll tell you also stuff if you're going to buy a used car about things like mileage tampering, service records, all types of good stuff, and you can even code the car yourself with this epic device. All right, to showcase to you the Carly, we actually jumped into the GT500 because this is basically a fully built, this is a fully built motor, Whipple swapped, like low 9, high 8-second, 1200 horsepower GT500. But what's good about the Carly is that if you want to get a vehicle that's used, that has some performance on it, you can definitely see what's going on, and or just a regular one. You know, people do sadly roll back miles, all that kind of good stuff. So this is definitely a good defense against that. So we're gonna plug that in here to connecting right now. So we have the app open. It says you're ready to start. We hit the connect button, so you can see the health stat. It's funny. It says bad, all the issues found, because again, we have retuned it. The reason the ABS lights are on and things like that is because we have the seats out, the airbags lights are on. But just to show you what's good about this is this smart mechanic. This tells you exactly code for code what you need to get, how you need to fix it. And there's good stuff too. So you can run a check. Your car will be checked for new issues. This happens in real time. You'll be driving, checking your lights, open the app up. You have your car connected. It's good to go. So please check it out. It's a great tool. They support us. They support the channel. Use code StangMode. Carly, link in description. Your tool to learn more. All right, on to the Raptor R. Let's go.
23, the color. So when we came to like, well, how do we differentiate a Raptor R from an EcoBoost Raptor, right? We went back and forth, but ultimately we landed on less is more, right? Because it's not about appearance, it's not about that, right? It's about what's under the hood. And so you'll notice that the truck is slightly different, and I'll go through like how we did that. The exterior, right, we kind of just try to blacken everything out to give it just a more menacing look. Black wheels, black cladding, black front and rear bumper, blacked out the grille, blacked out the rear applique. Obviously a unique graphic. We did hide an Easter egg in there. I don't know how much of a secret it is anymore. I think everybody's figured it out. We did subtle treatments of the R, both inside and out. In the interior, you guys will experience it tomorrow. Very blackened out in the color and material. Alcantara on the leather Recaro seats. Triaxial carbon design. And then, you know, we got to a point where we're like, okay, well, you know, like, is that enough? Is that enough? And we kind of like thought about, well, maybe we want to do something for that Raptor R customer that's, you know, just unique to them. And I think we landed on the hood scoop to kind of give it more of a power dome look. We raised it 24 millimeters so that everybody sitting in the driver's seat that's got this truck can look out that front windshield and kind of understand that they got something special under the hood. Okay? So last thing, I'm going to leave with 3 things that I want to leave you with as you guys kind of ask your questions and you reflect tonight over dinner and then kind of come into the drive tomorrow morning. So, number 1, I want to talk about horsepower. 700 horsepower. So I get asked a lot about, well, why isn't it 704? All right, that's a question I get a lot, right? And here's the answer to that, is because it doesn't really matter, and I'll tell you why. The difference between this truck and the equivalent version of the EcoBoost, so meaning EcoBoost on a 37-inch tire, is less than 100 pounds, okay? So if you kind of do the equation of power to weight, which is the only equation that really matters, right? 700, 705, 704, 704, doesn't matter, right? The power to weight ratio is so advantageous over any competitor out there, that's kind of what we designed to. So that's the first thing I'll say about power. Second thing I would say, I want to address, excuse me, travel. We made a conscious decision and a trade-off to go with a 37-inch tire on the R standard. So there's no 35 option. You know, like you don't start at a 35 and you option up to a 37. This truck basically has no options other than the moonroof. Okay? Well, moonroof and powered tailgate, kind of a combined option. That's the only thing that you can get on this. And you can delete the graphic, but that's it. So we wanted it to be something that came standard on the bigger tire. Now with that comes a trade-off with travel, because the 35-inch EcoBoost Raptor actually has 14 inches of travel. This has 13 inches of travel. But we really felt like with the power, we traded off the inch of travel with the higher ground clearance. And if you think about it, again, going back to the same conversation we just had on power, with those who are out there saying like, well, we have more horsepower, right? Again, it's about the fact that like, yeah, well, we have 13 inches of travel. They have 13 inches of travel. We have 13 inches of travel on a 37. You have 13 inches of travel on a 35. So again, right, put things into context, right? Before we write things that, well, they don't technically this, we don't technically that in terms of numbers. The third thing I would leave with you is this, is that it's all about where we want to win, right? Raptor started 15 years ago with Gen 1. We created the space. It isn't about going fast on pavement. It isn't about going fast on, you know, anything other than the dirt, on the sand, the, you know, the whoops, the things that you guys are going to experience tomorrow, right? It's about creating a product with a vision that competes in a very well-defined area in a space, right? That's where we want to win. We established that in Gen 1. We delivered that in Gen 2 when we went to the EcoBoost, and this truck takes it a step further in Gen 3. So I just kind of encourage you guys to keep in mind, like, where does Raptor want to win? Where do we want to compete? We compete in the off-road space. Horsepower, it's really more about the power to weight than it is about the number associated on horsepower. And then travel, do consider the trade-off that we consciously made to go to the bigger tire to get you higher off the ground, because running clearances are monumentally important when you're trying to go fast in the air. Okay? That's all I got, guys. My SMEs are gonna stick around. I'll be around if you guys have any questions. Otherwise, we can go get some dinner.
Here.
Well, there's...
All right, guys, so we are here with, you want to come over here so the car's behind us? Okay, so as you guys saw, we did a walk around before, but now we're here with the Ford engineers to tell us exactly about what it is the Raptor R is, and we have some questions for you that came from our fans.
Okay.
So I'll ask, you answer, that works for you? And you want to introduce yourself to the people?
Yeah, hi, my name is Brian Lazat. I'm the design supervisor for the 5.2 supercharged Predator engine that is now in the Carnivore / Raptor R.
What are we calling the motor, by the way? Is it still
I'm
Predator?
still calling it Predator.
Okay,
It's a derivative of the Predator engine.
All right, we'll get a little bit closer because of the people talking to. All right, so if you want to step over here, guys, this is what we're talking about here. This is the power plant for the Raptor R, which is also found in the GT500, but what are the differences between a GT500 power plant and a Raptor R?
Yeah, so there's some key changes specifically for the truck. Maybe I'll start at the top here. There is some unique badging on the supercharger with the Raptor logo and the imprint here. That's mostly aesthetics, just for the underhood environment. Same supercharger assembly from Eaton. It's a 2650 Roots style blower, made in Athens, Georgia. Same fundamental design. The main change on the supercharger is the pulley assembly. It's
Smaller?
a smaller pulley. Goes to 74.5 millimeters from the 80.1 on the GT500. And that was really done to try to balance the attributes of the vehicle and flatten out the torque curve in the mid-range area, as well as increase the torque to 640 foot-pounds. Right?
And am I right that the red line is also lower? RPM red line is lower?
Yeah, that's not really due to the engine itself.
Okay.
Right. It's primarily due to the powertrain matching to the automatic transmission. So the peak power speed on this is at 6750.
Okay. The power comes on a little bit sooner then.
And the red line is 7,000.
And oil pump gears are in this?
Yeah, it's a traditional G rotor.
Okay.
Positive displacement oil pump, same as GT500.
Okay.
Identical, same part number.
Here's some, I'm going to ask Brian some questions from the StangMode community. I said, listen, I'm going to go see the Raptor R. We'll ask Ford about it. They said, is this math or speed density as far as the intake is concerned?
It's speed density. There's
Okay.
actually...
That's good. Go ahead.
Yeah, so you have a what we call a supercharger inlet pressure sensor here, and a T-map, which is your pressure inside the unit after the charge air cooler is assembled. So between those two map sensors,
Yeah.
you can control the engine and manage the power.
And our next question is, what's the difference in the trans and the transfer case versus a regular Raptor V6?
Well, I'm very engine-centric.
Okay, we'll stick to, we'll stick to the engine then. It's okay.
I know a little bit,
Okay.
which I'll try to answer your question. So this application uses a 10R80.
Sure.
There were some modifications to it for the torque output of this. Fairly minor in the lower gears, right? And then there were some minor modifications to reinforce the torque converter.
Okay. So subtle.
Yeah,
Maybe
very
upgrading
subtle.
clutches, maybe?
Yeah.
Okay, upgrading clutches, okay.
And if you have specific questions, Don could probably help you
Okay.
get to the right person that designs
No, that's
the
fine.
transmission.
Well, no, that was very helpful. So the next question we have is this able to do, like the 21 F-150, you're able to get a Whipple on the 5.0. Is this able to have a Whipple on this in due time? Like a supercharger spot?
You know, I have not personally done any work with Whipple on this application. You know, there are, I'm sure, people in the aftermarket that have been exploring that space.
Sure.
And there may be an opportunity for someone to do that. I guess that's up to the customer in terms of what they want to do long term.
Now, we got to talk about, if that's okay, its competitor in the segment, the Ram TRX. The question was the Ram TRX used as a benchmark or any kind of use in seeing what they did while you were preparing this Raptor R?
No, I mean, for the engine architecture, it's very, very different from the other users in this segment, right? It's an all aluminum,
Absolutely.
high power density V8, you know, dual overhead
Their push
cam,
rod, yeah.
Right?
But I guess my question is, you didn't like have them for any kind of, just to look at what they were up
Not
to?
from an engine perspective.
Okay, all right.
Not at all. I mean, I'm very familiar with that architecture. It's been in the marketplace for a long
while,
time.
yeah. I don't think I was born when it came out, but it's been out there. And then last thing, I appreciate all the answers you're giving us.
Yeah.
Why wasn't the option to go for like a 7.3 Godzilla or a 5.0 Coyote in the Raptor R approach?
You know, I wasn't directly involved in those types of
Okay.
powertrain selection. I was asked to deliver this architecture.
No, sure, that's fine.
And it does an exceptional job. You know,
Absolutely.
I'm hoping tomorrow you got a big smile on your face.
No, I think
when
we
you're
will.
done.
You know, I personally own a 2020 GT500.
Okay.
And you know, my biggest problem is putting the power down because it's so much power, but it's rear-wheel drive. So I'm curious to see how this is now. Is it like 4A? Like it's all kind of all-wheel drive or full-time four-wheel?
That might be a question for Derek or for Tony or maybe one of the vehicle engineering guys later in the day.
All right. Well, Brian, I appreciate your time. He was a good sport, answered all your questions, and we can't wait to drive them, guys. So this is it right here, the Raptor, smaller pulley compared to G500, and it is a speed density, so that's good for us aftermarket people. So that's pretty cool stuff, guys. All right, appreciate it, Brian. Thank you for the support. So, guys, we're going to keep hunting down Ford people and trying to answer your questions, and we'll go from there.
I had to like say that.
Pardon me, John. I want to introduce myself.
yeah.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, no problem.
This is Anna and myself. We're just here, and we're saying hi. I'm not recording anything, but okay. But love the truck. It's beautiful. I guess we're basically going around asking the experts in the Raptor R questions that our fans had, and Brian was great. Okay, great.
Well, it depends on what kind of questions.
Well, you
Not
know
that
what?
you can't answer them. I just want to make you on camera.
I'm a marketing
answer
guy.
them, right?
So,
You're
all
a
right,
marketing guy. So
Technical
what kind
questions,
of?
not my
All right, that's fine. Listen, but basically, our fans are excited because obviously it's no news that everyone's been wanting to see a V8 in the Raptor again. So some of the questions were, let me pull it up because the question is, as far as its competitor in the segment, the Ram TRX, was this a vehicle that came post the Ram TRX, or was it already in development prior?
It's something we had been looking at and working on for a while,
Okay.
right? We don't really chase competitors.
Absolutely.
You know? We look at what our customers want. So when we launched, this is the 3rd generation Raptor, right? When we launched the 2nd generation, we went to the EcoBoost engine, which is a great motor for the Raptor. Tons of 510 foot-pound of torque, really low end grunt like a diesel, right? It's a great engine for off-road.
I personally own a 2022 Surge. I love it.
It's a great engine for.
It's actually good on gas too, by the way.
Yeah.
I'm getting 17 miles to the gallon, so.
Yeah, it's a great all-around motor. We still think it'll be our primary volume, but you know the customers. There were a group of customers that had been asking since the 1st gen for a V8, right?
Sure.
And so as we saw this opportunity, that we look for the opportunities in the market. We listen to our customers. We're constantly innovating and improving the truck with what customers want from us. It really kind of said, hey, that there's a customer group out there looking for this now. We've got a great opportunity. The timing is right. Let's bring it to market, right?
All right, the next question is, was this benchmark versus the TRX?
You know, it's really more engineering than marketing, but yes, we look at all of our competitors, right?
Sure.
So all of our company does a lot of competitive analysis. I know that they looked at the TRX, they looked at other vehicles as well. But again, the secret sauce, we developed the segment for this high performance off-road truck, right? And so this team has got some of the smartest people when it comes to the chassis and the suspension and the powertrains, and so TRX is a good truck. I mean, it's got the customers that like it, but we're really excited with where the Raptor R came out, what it does, how it works. We're not like I said, we're not chasing a competitor as much as we're really delivering what our customers
your own
really
your competition is yourself kind of deal, right? All right, and here's some other. You're doing great, by the way. I'm not even. I appreciate it. Now, is the 2023 F-150 Raptor going to be locked as far as any kind of aftermarket tuning or things of that nature? That remains to be seen, or I got to bother somebody else.
That's probably a question for Brian or for Derek.
Brian said to ask you. Brian said to ask you. I'm just teasing.
So powertrain wise, I don't know what
we don't know
what
yet.
we're going to do with that kind of thing, right? I can tell you that we do a great job tuning these things, so your customers are going to get an absolute lot out of this vehicle with what our engineers have done, but I don't know what we're going to do beyond that.
Well, Brian, you've done great. I have one more question for you, and I appreciate it. What is the top speed of the Raptor R for 2023? What is it governed at, I guess?
It is 112 miles an hour. The tires are the limiting factor, right? So these are big 37-inch off-road tires, and that kind of, the tires are rated to that, so that's where the truck is governed out at.
All right. Well, Brian, I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
So thank you.
Guys, stay tuned because we've talked about all the hype. We tell you all the specs. We've talked to Ford about it. And next video, we'll be actually driving these beasts. Yes, a V8 is back in the Raptor. All right, guys. Appreciate the support. See you soon.